What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're back with more matchmaking post UFC 86, Vegas 86, Hermansson vs Pyfer. We've got 11 key fighters on the card that need next fights to make, and I'm gonna matchmake appropriately for all of them and give my reasoning behind why I've chosen each guy for the fight. I'll also say when and where I think the fight should take place, and yeah, let's get into it. So Jack Hermansson got a big win in the main event. He won 3 rounds to 2 by decision and turned back the prospect Joe Pyfer, Salty Man Pyfer. He got it done. Very impressive. It's been a while for him since he's been in the cage, so he's a bit of a long layoff that he just broke. He called out a name. I'm fine to give that to him. Nurmagomedov. I think that's a great fight to make. Do it in Europe, of course, like whether it be France, if they go to Sweden, if they go to even England, it would probably be fine to make. Just do that fight somewhere in Europe, make it happen. I know last week I said Amavov versus Vettori if he loses to Allen, but I feel like this is a better schedule for both guys. They basically fought the exact same fight. They both took probably not heaps of damage, but enough that you're not turning around in a couple months. And also, Amavov or either of these guys doesn't have to wait for a few months to then fight the winner of a matchup. They can just turn around straight away, fight each other sometime in May or June on a fight night main card or on like some pay-per-view prelims or something like that. But I think that's the fight to make. We move on though to the loser of the main event. Joe, the Salty Man Pyfer, lost by decision. He kind of got fraud checked, and he made me say a pretty controversial thing on stream as a result. But he still has to turn around and fight someone else. He's probably going to want to take a bit of time off, kind of reassess himself, figure out the problems that he had, maybe fix his gas tank a little bit, try and work some technique, just get a little bit better, you know. Seems like a bit of a skill issue to me. But I'm thinking he fights someone else who fought on this card. Brad Tavares also lost against Gregory Rodriguez, and I think this is a great fight to make, in my opinion. Tavares is a guy that's been around for a while. He was ranked at some point, but this is not like you're giving him another super high-level guy. You're not feeding him to the wolves, because I imagine the UFC is still going to want to push him a little bit. So you do this fight in maybe even Brazil as well, or anywhere on like a pay-per-view prelims, fight night, main card, fight night, prelims, whatever, Apex, co-main event, any of those kind of things. And I think this would be an acceptable fight to make, just because Tavares, it's like people might be like, oh, Tavares doesn't deserve a jump up. Like, it's not really a jump up, because even though Pyfer was getting a jump up and fought a ranked opponent, before this his best win was GM3 or Abdul Razak Al Hassan. So I think this is a great fight to make. I think it's an appropriate step for both of them. I think they're around a similar level, and it would be a pretty competitive fight. So we move on though to the winner of the co-main event. Dan Ige won by knockout against Andre Fili in the first round. Very impressive performance. This is kind of like just the Dan Ige special, you know. He loses to a wrestler, gets out grappled, and then he fights an unranked guy and KOs them. That's just how it goes. KO'd Damon Jackson, KOs Gavin Tucker, now he KOs Andre Fili. So yeah, great win for Dan Ige. I think he deserves a jump up in opponent, and I think you give him Giga Chikadze, is my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, Giga doesn't have a fight booked, in my opinion. I doubt he does, otherwise we probably would have heard about it. So I don't think Giga should be fighting anywhere else. I don't think he should fight heaps up the rankings either, because he was booked against Emmett, you know, you pulled out, missed the boat, buddy, you got to fight back down. And I think Dan Ige is an acceptable matchup. It's not like you're making him fight unranked guys again. But like, Giga won against Alex Caceres. He didn't look crazy good, so I think this is acceptable. Very close in the rankings. If Ige loses, back to another unranked guy, Joe Anderson Brito. If he wins, then he can get that jump up and maybe fight a guy just outside the top 5. So great fight to make. Do this on, again, fight night, main card, fight night co-main, maybe like something like that, or pay-per-view prelims as well. But we move on to the loser of the co-main event. Andre Fili got knocked out straight to the land of the big booty Latinas, and he needs to turn around and take a bit of time off, to be honest. He got knocked out pretty badly, so take a bit of time off, come back, fight someone who I think's on a similar schedule and also got KO'd by Dan Ige. I'm talking about Gavin Tucker. Battle of the Ige 37 weeks expecting baby, like battle of the Ige victims, you know. Both of them fought Ige and got knocked out in the first round when Ige's wife was expecting. So yeah, You see who out of these two, who out of the Ige expecting victims is better, and make this fight on a fight night prelims sometime in like June. But Gavin Tucker, I think, might have got like his arm broken by Diego Lopez, and then Felix going to need to take some time off. So get him back in there in like June. Maybe pay-per-view prelims too works out. But yeah, I think this is a good fight to make. Gregory Rodriguez, Robama Obama, Robocop, Violent Obama, got it done in the third round by vicious TKO against Brad Tavares. And I think you do him versus Chris Curtis is a fun matchup, and I think would be a sick fight. Do it on the Brazil card. I don't think Robocop can't speak. I don't think Robocop took that much damage. I don't think Chris Curtis took heaps of damage against Marc-Andre Barrios. Chris Curtis has been yapping too much, but he doesn't deserve a ranked opponent. So fuck you. Fight Robocop. Hopefully you get chinned. And yeah, we can be rid of Chris Curtis. But I think that's the perfect fight to make. Would be a certified banger, and either guy could get knocked out, either guy could win a decision. It would just be a really fun and intriguing matchup, so I think you make it happen. But the next fighter that we need a match make for is Ihor Potieria. Got a nice win on short notice, down a weight class against some Polish dude, and I don't think you give him too much of a jump up in opposition. I say you do him versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Both pretty low-level guys. If Potieria is a guy that they do actually want to try and get behind, I doubt it, but, like, he does have some promotability, so maybe you just give him, like, if they just want to give him someone really good, they can. Like, they could just feed him to fucking Shara or some shit and just get him KO'd, but if they want to actually try and build him and give him some winnable fights, then I say you do him versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus is pretty much a can. He's literally an Abbas Magomedov victim, but he did get a win against Puno Soriano in his last fight. So he probably, he doesn't deserve to be cut from the organization just yet, but if he loses this one, he might get cut. So yeah, do this. You get a German versus a Ukrainian. There'll be something going on there. You got the full-blown, World War II kind of vibes going on over there. Like, we had this fight, Poland versus Ukraine, but we had the full Warsaw Pact going on. So just V2 of that, I'm a big fan of it. And yeah, make it happen. We move on though to the next fight. Michael Johnson got a win over Darius Flowers. He almost choked it at the end. He almost did an MJ and got fucking subbed in the third round. But he walked away with the W, so good for him. And I think you do him versus Terrence McKinney next. I think that's a great fight to make. Pretty realistic too. I know it's a younger guy versus an older guy. McKinney's kind of hype. He's a little bit gone, but he does have a few wins recently. They keep feeding him cans, and he keeps getting quick KOs. So give him Michael Johnson, veteran versus young guy. I think the striking in this would actually be pretty fun. I wouldn't mind Michael Johnson's chances to win if he mixed in the wrestling and all that, because McKinney's cardio is very iffy, but MJ, he looked good, but he fought Darius Flowers, who ain't the best, so it'd be hard to tell where he's at. Michael Johnson, whenever you're picking his fights, you never go off what you last saw. If anything, if he won his last fight, you pick him to lose by KO, and if he lost his last fight, you pick him to win by fucking domination. So this will be a tough one to predict. I think McKinney would have a good chance of cracking him early, because he does still hit hard, but I think there's a perfect fight to make. Do it on pay-per-view prelims, fight night, main card, or prelims, any of that kind of thing. Just make it happen. Good fight. We move on though to the next fight. Adolfo Vieira got a submission in the first round against Armen Petrosyan, and I think he could get a ranked opponent, and I say you do him versus Paul Craig if he loses to Caio Borralho, which I think he will. So I think this is a perfect matchup to make. Both elite jiu-jitsu guys. I think this will be a great fight in the grappling. And if you watched Paul Craig's fight with Muniz, which was a similar sort of scenario, I think Vieira's arguably got better pure jiu-jitsu than Muniz, but that fight was very interesting. It kind of ended up striking for a bit like shitty kickboxing, so this could either end up being shitty kickboxing or we end up with a great scrambly fight on the ground. I actually wouldn't know who to pick here, because Paul Craig, again, just like MJ, extremely inconsistent, so I wouldn't know who to pick, but this would be a great fight to make. Vieira versus Paul Craig. If Borralho for some reason pulls out against Paul Craig, you could do Vieira versus Craig in Brazil. If not, he could probably get one in beforehand, just fight some other random guy, but I want to see this next at some point. Paul Craig versus Adolfo Vieira, just for the jiu-jitsu, and this would be pretty cool. But we move on to another fight. Carlos Prates got a win against Trevin Giles, and I think, look, he got a nice KO, very impressive, but he kind of looked a bit mid beforehand. So this guy does seem to be someone that UFC wants to promote and not super promote, but like they want to give him some favourable matchups. So I don't think you give him a big jump up. I think you just do him versus Gilbert Urbina, who's coming off a KO loss against Charles Radke. I think you just need to get this guy some octagon experience, to be honest. You don't need to do some high-level ranked opponent or fucking... He called out Ponzinibbio, like, calm down, bro, you would get fucking KO'd. So yeah, just chill, pump the brakes. I don't know how old he is, but still. You got a little bit of time. Just get him a few wins first. Get the octagon jitters out the way. Give him a winnable opponent. More confidence. And then he can move on to a higher-ranked opponent. But you do Urbina versus Carlos Prates and make it happen. Good KO, though, from Carlos. We move on, though, to the next fighter. Bogdan Smith Guskov is the guy that we are going to now. Anthony Smith, cancer patient Anthony Smith, is who we need a matchmake for. He got a great win over this fat dude, this fat Samoan, or fat Islander or whatever. But again, just like Prates, I think this guy is actually a guy with a lot of upside, a lot of promotional potential. He's pretty funny. He made some jokes in his post-fight interview. He's got power. He's promotable. He looks like Anthony Smith as well, so there's an ongoing joke there. And I think fans are going to be behind this guy for all of his future fights. So, again, don't give him some high, big jump up. I say you do him versus Modestas Bukauskas coming off a KO loss to Vitor Petrino. I just think you get this guy a few wins, get this guy some names, put him on some Fight Night prelims, pay-per-view prelims, get him some attention, get him out the Apex, put him in front of a crowd, and get this guy some attention, get him some notable wins, and get the more fans on his side. So Modestas Bukauskas would be a perfect fight, in my opinion. Make it happen. Just do it. Sometime soon, in a couple months' time. Yeah. Next fighter, though, is Hyder Emil. Got a big win over Fernie Garcia. Not a super impressive name-wise like guy on your resume, but a fun fight and a big KO. And I think you do him versus this French guy named Morgan Charrier that had a fight fall out recently with Sung Hu Choi or some shit, some Korean dude. Charrier is a really exciting fighter. Go watch his debut on the Paris card. He fights all action. Hyder Emil fights all action. I think he would be a perfect replacement. It's not too far away. It's in April, so 2 months' time. But get it out the Apex. Don't do this fight in the Apex. Put it on a fight night, like Arena Fight Night or something like that, or some pay-per-view prelims. Any of that thing. Just don't have this fight in the Apex. Don't put Morgan Charrier in the Apex. And don't put Hyder Emil in the Apex ever again. These guys are both super entertaining, super exciting, and guaranteed to get the crowd very excited when they fight. Both guys all action, so I say make this one happen, and yeah, this would be a great fight to make. That is the end of the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed watching. That's the matchmaking done. I think I did pretty well here. Some certified bangers: Hermansson versus Mavov, Pyfer versus Tavares, Ige versus Chikadze, Feely versus Tucker, Robocop versus Curtis, Guskov versus Bukauskas, Pateria versus Stoltz versus Johnson versus McKinney, Emil versus Charrier, Vieira versus Paul Craig, and Urbina versus Prates. Great fights. Let me know what fights you guys want to see in the comments. I'll see you guys tomorrow or the day after for a new video coming soon. 298 Fight Week, so we got videos with that, other tier lists on the channel. So keep it locked in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody. See ya.